Notts County Talk, we are live. Another Thursday, another Pavis perspective. We said we could be sat here with 6 points. We said we'd like 4. We've got 1. Strap in if you think this is going to be a massively positive episode. It's not. It's also not going to be an episode where we are just, 100% completely negative. But we are reviewing what's happened in the last 2 games. And let's be honest, we've snuck a point in the 89th minute and played in that intensity, that performance against Barrow at home. We have Ben, who is a long-time guest of the channel, and also potentially Jordan, who you all know, coming on the channel. If you are new around here, please do drop a subscription. We'd massively appreciate it. Leave us that 5-star review if you're listening back on Spotify. And we're going to kick off the show. As always, before we start, I'm going to mention our channel sponsor. We are powered by Better Bytes Computers. Want refurbishments, want discounts off computer repairs, go and check out Kevin Mapley in Nottingham. He will sort you out with that code Pavis Perspective. And he's a fantastic guy, fantastic company. Hello to Maggie. Hello to Phil, Ian, John, Richard, Fredo, Mickey, who is a channel member. Pie Life, Stephen, Royston, Joe. Great to see so many regulars, but also so many new faces as well. But another face we see every week is George. How are you after you? I had to wake you up, didn't I, in the Barrow game a couple of times? Nodded off.
Yeah, once or twice. Yeah, I mean, it was tough watch. I think quite a lot of the games at Mead Lane this season have been a tough watch. But I think when you're coming up against sides are going to come to Mead Lane and frustrate us. We've seen that, so it is going to make games feel a little bit dull, I think. But look, injuries aside and things like that, because it just seems like a bit of a pattern that's emerged in the last couple of months. It was just really boring. It was really, really boring, and I think we were saying it a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to see a bit more urgency, and maybe change things up a little bit and go to win games instead of sticking too rigidly to fundamentals and stuff like that. Someone commented saying, "Oh, but I'd rather watch an exciting style of football." I can't remember when the last time I watched Notts and I thought this is exciting for a full 90. Anyway,
Cheltenham away.
Well, yeah.
That was before January. That was December.
Yeah, it's just we've had a lot of losses, I think, this season. I seen a tweet earlier as well, and it was like we sold our best player. Obviously, talking about Dan Crowley. We've got Jones out. We've got McGoldrick out, who are really, other than Crowley, are two best players from the start of the season.
Yeah.
And a lot of our squad are young. And don't get me wrong, I've quoted it myself, like in games where we've done really well and the youth have done well. Big fan of Whittaker. I think, look, he's got 1 or 2 mistakes in the games that he's played, but I think his contribution outside of that has been massive. But we're heavily reliant on it, and we're two coaches down as well with the Saunders brothers. I'm not pinning it entirely on the Saunders brothers because I'm not sure what to make of that. But regardless of who they are and what they've come out and said, we've lost a lot of detail in there with 2 coaches not being there. So it's a lot. It's a lot of time to make up, isn't it? Time spent with players and things like that. So I think that's sort of coming to the forefront now. It just it's so disappointing because we know that we have a good squad on paper. Just something isn't ticking, and for me, it's just such a lack of urgency.
Yeah. There's so much to dissect tonight with just us two, with Ben, with Jordan. Good to have you with us, Casey. Casey sums it up pretty well there. So poor at home. I mean, you can add another 3 so's in there. Much better value for money away. I agree. I mean, and I'm not. This is not going to be 100% Pavis perspective of absolutely bashing them, because I thought we were good away at Fleetwood. I thought we were good. We massively deserved 3 points in that game, in my opinion. They were in the game for 10 minutes. We'll go on to talk about that in very, very shortly. Actually, they were in the game for 10 minutes and were absolutely stung by it. A moment of madness from Alex Bass, where it's bounced off the back of the neck of Matty Platt into a favourable position. And then, we're not going to be blindsided. Look, you've got this is the situation we're in with this league at the minute. You've got Walsall fans calling for the head of Matt Sadler, a team that should have finished bang on mid-table, and I think have a mid-table squad personally. You've got them calling for his head because they don't want to get caught. You've got Bradford going crazy and people suggesting we should have Aidan Baldwin back. You know, you've got Wimbledon, who looked like they will just beat every team 1-0, winless in 4. You've got Doncaster losing. Was their game? Who was their game to? They lost. It was one of the teams down at the bottom. It wasn't Morecambe, was it? It was someone like that.
Carlisle.
No, Carlisle was Port Vale drop. No, it was Walsall. You've got Port Vale dropping points. You've got a lot of interesting things happening. We are not the only team in this boat. It's like we're playing, a game of who doesn't want to go up. And Bradford are like, well, I'm not going to play this because let's get this promotion I've wanted for about 6 years. And we're all just kind of, the only blessing is that every other team messed up bar Bradford. And Bradford are going up, in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah, as it stands.
We are not the only team in this position. And there'll be podcasts throughout the week from Doncaster fans and Walsall fans, very concerned Walsall fans, in my opinion. And will there be massive overreactions in that fan base? 100%. They've seen a 15-point lead slip to something like 2 points. You would be absolutely panicking. Okay. A 15-point lead is evaporated, and the only reason they're in the automatic, if ever the team have got their finger out, they'll be out the automatics. So that's the position they're in. We are not in a league where there are massively great teams. I think Bradford are very, very good, and they've got it all worked out. So we're not in this boat on our own. Is automatic promotion still doable? 100%. We win a game in hand, we go third. That's how realistic it is. Automatic promotion is very, very, very doable on paper. Our question tonight is, are we good enough for it? We're going to get our opinion there. So there's so much to dissect, and we would love to know your questions, your thoughts. Put them in the chat. Myself and George will always read in the chat. We'll try and put a few up there. If you've got any for our guests, we're going to bring Ben in very, very shortly. We're also going to get Jordan in if he manages to join us. It would be good if he could. And then we'll ask some questions. But have you put your vote in, George? And I think straight away, this is a poll that we can give our answers to straight away. Are we good enough for automatic promotion? What have you said?
So there's obviously a few different sort of ways you can look at it. I think currently now, the way we're playing currently and the players that we have available for selection currently, I don't think we are. But I think obviously we get McGoldrick back, we get Jones back. Definitely. Definitely. I was saying this earlier on in our Notts County Talk chat. I think one thing that we're lacking this season is leaders. We don't really seem to have any leaders on the pitch. I think you probably get a bit of that from McGoldrick. But outside of that, to be honest with you, I don't really see where there's any leadership on the pitch. We just need some more sort of fierce sort of characters, don't we, on the pitch? It's definitely something that we're lacking. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of a double answer, isn't it? Yes and no. I think we probably can. I've put yeah. I think we probably can. But I'm so unconvinced because of the last few weeks. It's just
there's a difference between can and will. Big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're good enough, personally. But I'm bang on with you. There's something missing. You're 2-1 down to Barrow, and there was no urgency other than just after we scored. You've got to be prepared if a team like Barrow are going to sit in and waste time to go and speed it up again. Keep it going. So, yeah, there's our answer to our poll question. We both think we're good enough to go up, but is it going to happen? I don't know. Let's get Ben in. Let's see what Ben reckons to it, because, as I've said, 75, 80 minutes against Fleetwood were great, and we still don't win that game. And then obviously you go on the back of that, you think, right, late goals can get teams going again. You've seen teams win late and then they kick on from it. I know I don't want to keep going on about them, but they're the only good example in this league at the minute. Bradford, late goal at the weekend against Salford, go comfortably and batter Cheltenham. Cheltenham fans saying the best team they've seen this season. Well, that we were the best team they'd seen up until that game. So let's get Ben in. Ben, you were on about a month and a half ago.
Sounds about right. Yeah, that's it.
Changed a little bit, haven't they? First of all, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, pal. I'm good. Nice to see you, fellas. I'm a little bit concerned about the Notts. But to answer the question, are we good enough to go up? Yeah, we are. But I think we have got to start realizing when the big moments are. I think that's the thing. Like you're talking about Bradford. Bradford, when you watch their highlights or extended highlights, they've got a real desire. They've got a real belief and a real desire, and they're going to grab it. You know, they want to grab promotion. And meantime, they're kind of whistling, kind of like, yeah, we'll win, and you just drop points, and we'll just keep going. You know, and I think we're getting into the stage now where every game is massive now. If you're pushing autos, every game now is big, which amps up the moments. You know, it amps up those chances when we miss them. They're big moments in big games. And listen, we take our chances. I mean, I think I said the same thing in December, January. We take our chances. We're in a different position, man.
Yeah, I agree. Very briefly before we get into this chat, I started at half time thinking this. What would your management style be? Because you go into half time against Barrow and we're losing and we're playing poorly. We've conceded a poor goal. And every other side are losing. Would you tell the players what's going on around the league? Or do you think it's too early for that?
I think it's too early for that.
Would you not say, look, everyone else is losing?
I think I'd be more general. I'd just sort of say, look, this league is wide open. This league is wide open. We have got to grab the points here. Yeah. Rather than look at individual score lines.
Fair enough.
But I don't know whether that's right or wrong.
What would you do, George? Would you say go out there and do something else because it's shambolic at the moment? Is that what you're saying?
Something along those lines, yeah. No, I don't think I will. I'm with Ben. I don't think I would. I'd probably just generalise it a little bit more. It's still a little bit early yet, isn't it? And I think, to be honest with you, whereas I understand that from a motivational standpoint, I don't really think we should need, with all due respect, in the position that we're in, some of the games that we've won, some of the performances that we have seen, but whether it be sort of 50 minutes or 45 minutes, we should be putting teams like Barrow away. It shouldn't need like a half-time motivational speech to beat Barrow, with the most respect.
Yeah, you're right.
So in that game in particular, no. But I think towards the end of the season, I don't know. It probably depends on your personnel, doesn't it? I think if you've got players that thrive on it, then why not? But if you've got players that might, a bit of anxiety might creep in or something like that, it's probably best not to, isn't it? But
and back on what you mentioned earlier, George. Ben, what are your thoughts on leaders in the team? Because I look at the captain, I look at Matty Palmer, excellent player.
I love him. Yeah.
But I don't, and I might be completely wrong. I'm not in that dressing room, but I don't see a Jim O'Brien in him. I know Jim. No, we're talking about not necessarily talking about Cat. I don't see Jim O'Brien in him. I don't see a Michael Doyle in him. I don't know whether you get that from Matty Platt. You're obviously going to get it from Didsey. I think from what I saw and the way he gave it to Jarvis on Tuesday, I think you probably get that from Jacob Bedu.
Big time.
But I don't know if we're lacking something.
I thought that was a really good point, George. I mean, Matty Palmer has a certain style, and like that isn't going to change, and nor should it. He sort of leads by example. He has quiet words, doesn't he? But even Bassi, I was saying to my boy watching the game, not the Barrow game. It was the Fleetwood game. But Bassi doesn't yell at people. You know when like defenders have made a mistake, not all the time. He doesn't scream. He just takes the ball and goes, "All right, calm and go." So even Bassi isn't a kind of big shouter. Beds is big time. I think in terms of leadership, we're really missing Didsey, and it's not just the noise on the pitch. Like sometimes when we're passing it too quick and panicky, and we're placing passes. It's always Didsey who just sorts the tempo out. Always. Ball goes into him and he just takes his time, knocks it out, and we recycle in a different way. And he sort of sets the tempo. And without him there, I think it's really difficult. Because I agree. We've got one 30-year-old. And Kellen Gordon, I think, is probably the next oldest player.
27.
Yeah. So then beyond that, everybody is mid-20s or really much, much younger. You know, so I do think we are lacking something there. I think that's a fair point. I've not really thought about it.
What I think we're lacking a player that's been there and done that in the spine of the team. Because you can see, because if I don't say the spine of the team, you've got Kellen Gordon and Nick Cerulli that's just been promoted with Crawley.
Yeah.
So you've got it. But I think someone down that centre of that team, and I know Didsy's got it, and we can talk about Didsy as much as possible. A player that's been in League Two and got out of League Two, 40 games under their belt in a season, can play, can take knocks, can take a lot of heavy tackles. Just is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Is a robust player that is gonna. Yeah, so I'm thinking of teams that have had it in the past. Wrexham buy a lot of those kind of players. You know what I mean? Wrexham buy a lot of those players that know the league, know how to win. And fair play to Barrow on Tuesday. They knew how to waste time. They fully knew it. I don't think we do that.
It was a perfect storm for Barrow, though. They turn us round. They score in 10 minutes. So now, like, the crowd are silent because Barrow play in front of, which is it's the size of the club. It's fair dues, but they play in front of whatever they play in front of, a couple of thousand. So they know even on a Tuesday night coming to Meadow Lane, it's going to be 8.5. Now that can make a hell of a racket. That's a lot of noise. So you turn them round, you score within 10. Now we put 9 players behind the ball, but not to build it up so slow you can get the 10th player behind the ball.
Yeah,
it's like it was a perfect storm. The ref doesn't give the pen. Then Jatta misses from 4 yards. It's like, okay.
I said this to George. I leant over to George and said it not long after their goal. I said their team talk would have been, right, win the toss, turn around so they kick at the Kop second half, get an early goal and hold out till half time, you win the game. They've done it. They've literally done it. And their goal? They walked through us.
Yeah.
They literally walked. It was like, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, that goal, we haven't conceded many like that. I was really disappointed with that goal. Because actually, I know they catch us on the transition, but there are bodies back, man. There are still six bodies in the box.
You were massively unhappy with that, weren't you, George? That goal.
I was furious.
Yeah. Like I said, it was such a cheap goal to concede. And preventable on so many fronts. It wasn't just like one line of defense, was it? It could have been stopped 3 or 4 times before it went in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with what Ben's saying. It's not like we've seen loads of it this season, so we can't be too disappointed. But I think in the grand scheme of things, when it's the first goal in the game, if you're like 4-0 up, fair enough. Guards drop a bit, don't they? Mentality and things like that. Yeah. But when it's 0-0 and you're at home to a team, if they score, they're going to just drop men behind the ball. It's poor.
Yeah. I don't want to come on here and just seem like the last couple of weeks I've just moaned because that's not what this. If you're a long time, if you've just tuned in tonight and last week, you probably think, oh, these guys they just never give it a rest. If you're a long time viewer of the channel, 154 episodes in, I'll genuinely say 130 of these have been massively positive, and in a lot of cases probably overly optimistic because that's how we are. But if you look at the last 4 games, there's not a lot to be massively positive about. The Barrow performance was horrendous. The Tranmere performance, somehow we got a win. The Colchester performance was poor, and we should have conceded to Tranmere and Colchester combined like 6 or 7 goals. Fleetwood, can't put them away. Port Vale, unreal first half, lose it in the second half. So I think there's 2 ways you can look at it. I think if you're going to say something on social media, I think being negative 100% of the time is really bad for the side, obviously. But I think being positive 100% of the time is bad as well. I think that I've seen some cases where people are genuinely saying, come on, it's not that bad. Look at the other teams. We're doing all right. I don't think you can really dress up the Barrow game too much. Callum's right. Sorry, if you just tune in. We do just normally sing karaoke and praise the team even they lose. But, we've been told by our producer, who's Will, that we're not allowed to do that anymore. And Ben also said he's not coming on if we sing. So,
the one thing I will say though, the one-on-one that Jatta misses that move,
Which game?
That goes in, that is the best team goal we've scored. It's better than the Donny goal. So we are capable. This is why, the question, are we good enough to go up? Yeah. Because we can put together a 6-pass move like that, or however many it was, loads of different players involved. And it was beautiful. I mean, we literally opened them up. We went from the edge of our box, from Zach Johnson, all the way through. And if Jata slots that, so we are capable of really, really beautiful football. And that is effective, not just beautiful. We're also capable of keeping the ball in a heat map between about 10 yards outside the centre circle.
Let's talk about that then. Because you talked about the Jata miss. For me, the defining moment of the game, 5 minutes before half-time against Fleetwood, he has to score. Score. Second half, 10 minutes in the second half, rounds the goalkeeper, very similar to what happened at Meadow Lane. Doesn't shoot.
I know.
10 minutes after that, unreal cross into the box. Gets there, only contact he can get, a good save from their keeper. I think there's a pattern emerging, and we don't take chances. But we've spoken before this show went live. He's the only real striking option. Someone commented on the vlog that, what about Traore? I'm not counting Traore as a striking option yet. The guy's been in the country 3 weeks, a month, maybe a little bit more than a month, and he's not up to speed. The 2 assists he got in the last couple of games ago, one of them's taken off his toe. The other one bounces back off the bar, I think, and hits him. Not really 2 assists. It's all on Jata. So if he scores, great. If he misses, it's massively high, it's massively highlighted.
Yeah.
But he is missing. And the first time I've seen it was after the Barrow game. If you listen and read between the lines, it's the first time Maynard's actually criticised him without saying it, because he normally says AJ's done this, does that, does this, does that. But he actually said after the Barrow game something along the lines of he will have games like this. So it's kind of admitting that he didn't put in that performance. What are your thoughts? I don't know, George or Ben, on Jata at the minute, because he's missing huge chances.
I don't mind talking about it. I mean, to be honest, I think he tends to have a miss a game, doesn't he? Really. Thinking back, sort of most games that I remember, which is the majority of watching, because he's missed a really, really good chance. And look, strikers have to be in those positions to get those chances, and that is part of the art, isn't it? But I don't know if it's a confidence thing, maybe, where he's missed a few chances and he's not fully backing himself. I'm not sure, but there is definitely, like you say, Tom, there's a pattern emerging, and it is becoming an issue, because you think of some of the games where it's been fine margins, and there's a table somewhere, isn't there, where it's big chances missed and where Knott's at top of that, and then it's individuals and Jata's top of that. You just think you convert, I don't know, even 5 more of those, where we'd be in particular games. It is an issue, but then it's I do think we've been spoiled a little bit with Langstaff, because you back Langstaff every time he went one-on-one to score. You backed him in the area. He just, the seasons we had him, he was fairly ruthless, wasn't he? And look, Jata could still go on to get 20 plus goals, and he probably will. But I just feel given the comparison I have is obviously Langstaff. Given Langstaff the chances that Jata's had this season, I think he'd be on a hell of a lot more goals.
I've not actually looked at these stats until right now, when people have been saying this. This is damaging. Jata's got our most goals. Dids is second. He's been out now for 6 or 7 games. Jody's third. Barely kicked a ball for the season. 13 games, 14 games. Next was Dan Crowley, sold in January. Next is Abbott with 4. And let's be honest, most of them are worldies. There's our issue. People are saying, someone said in the chat, we score a lot of goals. We did. We did score a lot of goals, and we've lost a huge amount of attacking threat. Ben, what are your thoughts on the situation up top? And
I think for me, one thing to say about Maka is I think Maka was also top of the chances missed table, but but he was just a very, very clinical kind of striker. I mean, okay, a lot of the time the ball was into feet and stuff. But what Maka had was the desire to score, and I'm not about to have a massive go at Jata. He's got 19 goals. Is it all comps? You know, he's our top scorer and could easily end up with a golden boot. I mean, he really could. But this might sound a bit weird. But my feeling is sometimes the desire to score the goal has got to outweigh the difficulty of the chance or the possibility of it's not happening. Because I see that with other teams where they just really, really want to score. Like Michael Cheek's a pretty good example of that. You know, I've seen him score off his arse against Notts away. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't care. And I'm not saying that Jata's trying to score the perfect goal or anything like that. It's just like the two, in fact, where he's gone around the goalkeeper. That's difficult. The angle is difficult. Shoot.
Yeah.
If you hit the post or you miss, we'd be like, oh man. But because he pulls it back and then it sort of dribbles out to nothing, it's harder. I don't know. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird point, but it's like I feel like as a team, and I don't think there's more. Just like George said, there's more emphasis on Jata because we've only got one striker right now. But it is the rest of the team. You know, we do miss chances. I am president of the Nicky Cerula fan club, but you know, Nicky Cerula misses an open goal against Gills.
Yeah.
We win
where he hit the post?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but we win the game. We were so on top. We win the game if he scores that. So it is through the rest of the team. And Charlie Whittaker, I've got a lot of time for. I think he's a really talented kid, but he's 20 years old. And I feel for Maynard because he's tried everybody in there. You know, Edwards has had a go, Grant's had a go, Whittaker's had a go, Traore's had a go now. But he's 20, you know, and we're relying on a 20-year-old who can perform. He can come up with brilliant moments, but you know, Georgie Abbott's a freak of nature. You don't get that consistency from a 19, 20-year-old. That's why him and Nathan Lowe are incredible.
Yeah. Very quickly to interrupt there. Anagram, Ed Francis. Chris got it.
Nice.
Cars fiend, Ed Francis.
Nice.
Yeah, one of those where you look back, maybe we shouldn't have sold him. But we got promoted that season anyway, so at the time it wasn't the right thing. Yeah, and I know what you mean. I think going back to the Whittaker thing, he's been dumped straight into a promotion race in men's football in League Two. Ben's dropped out, but Ben will be back in a second. He's been dropped straight into a promotion race in men's football in League Two. So it's very, very difficult for him. And let's be honest, he's not Dan Crowley. Charlie Whittaker is not Dan Crowley. Dan Crowley has had 2 seasons in League Two and a season in League One and was up to 100% match sharpness. Whittaker's had to come in, and I don't know if there's an expectation that he was just going to take. I don't think it helped the timing where he signed him and then sold Crowley within about 4 hours or announced it.
Yeah.
But you can't lump it on him. And this is where I actually do feel a little bit for Maynard, because I said on this channel, we've all said, everyone that didn't even put it in a tweet or didn't put it in a Facebook group or didn't say it knew that if we got January right, we went up. And we've given Maynard, Zach Johnson on loan. I think he's actually all right, but very young. Jarvis, very young. Whittaker, very young. Traore, very... I mean, the guys coming from Norway, absolutely unknown. That, for my opinion, is not enough to get you promoted. It's the complete opposite. It's the complete. I think it's. In my opinion, these players could go on to get us promoted this season. I look stupid. I'd take that. I'd love that. But they could go on next season to be unreal for Notts. But you don't think that's quite a. When you look back at now, that's not a fantastic January.
I disagree.
Go on.
Mate, when January finished, we actually rated the window as like 7 or 8, didn't we?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So we thought it was a good window. I think given the injuries that we've had, like Jones and McGoldrick, I think those players in the squad with a sprinkling of those players instead of them being chucked in the deep end, it's a completely different story. I think you'd see these players flourish a lot better. So I don't think you can really pin too much on the January window, because I think in that moment, I thought we did quite well. I thought we replaced, outgoings. Look, you're not going to get a Dan Crowley in January without spending silly money. So I kind of understand that. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I thought it was an okay January, to be fair. I thought it was pretty good, if anything.
How about this then? I've just had a look. The average age of the 3 signings is 22, with 0 League Two games between them.
That's the big one. It's the 0 League Two games. Charlie kind of physically struggled a bit. I thought he had a rough night against Barrow, to be honest. He misplaced a few passes. They were quite clever. When he got the ball, they stuck 2 on him. So he got clobbered a couple of times. Which, and he actually battles pretty hard. It's not that I don't think he's strong enough necessarily, but he struggled, and he's played 0 league games, man. Do you know what I mean? That's really tough. And I'm with you, George. I know we can all, till the cows come home, say if we had Didzy, but the thing is, he does link the midfield control with the final third, and that's what we're missing. We've got complete control over that middle patch. Georgie Abbott and Palmer together are terrific. But it's the next bit. and Didzy links that together, and he understands Jatta's movement and where Jatta will be better than anybody else. And so it's not just Didzy's goals. I think it's his influence and the way that he can link play and his guile. And I think if he's there, then Charlie can do different things, and probably looks even more effective, and he probably plays less minutes.
Yeah, and I also say the point I just made with 0 League Two appearances, 2 of those players, Johnson and Whittaker, actually have almost 0 senior appearances as well, not just League Two. I like this point. In all fairness to Whittaker, it's only a couple of games ago he drags a poor performance to win. Yeah. Massively agree with that. But then the player he's replaced in Dan Crowley could have 6, 7, 8 consecutive high-level games. I right now wouldn't be confident to say Whittaker would have 4 consecutively impactful games. And that's not his fault. Like you say, he's 20, 21 years old. I think exactly what you said, George. We were all thinking Jody and Didzy would be fine. The Jody ones killed us, absolutely killed us. Yeah, when I read that on Tuesday night that it's another recurrence, I was thinking, I genuinely am so sick of it. So sick of these injuries. And 2 names have been mentioned in this chat today. Sam Austin, the energy he gives.
Oh, no.
You know what? Sam Austin would not have been jogging around on Tuesday night. He'd have been flying in, trying to get him. And also, I've said it for weeks, and I'd genuinely forgotten about him. I said it in the Fleetwood vlog. We're lacking someone to just go and win that ball in the middle and do something nasty. Robbo.
Yeah.
Is he gone? Is he even mentioned anymore in the updates?
No. I know. I said to you, Tom, I thought that Robbo could be a point of difference because we don't have a player like that. Do you know what I mean? Like on a really basic level, he's just Scottish. He's hard. He doesn't actually, he doesn't care. And he can play. He's got a great range of passing as well. I'm a big fan of Robbo, and I think he's a big miss.
7 games this season.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like JJ, we only had half a JJ when he came back. We haven't had Jones since October, whenever it was when he got crocked at Gills.
You're right. Do you know how good his stats are? To say he's got 5 goals, 2 assists in 14. It's essentially 8. 5 goals and 2 assists in probably 8 games. So Rob out for the season. That's why I've not had any update. I just wonder what the kind of progression was. Lads, who played when we won 8 out of 10? Big Rob McDonald. I thought he was good. Our squad's young, isn't it? And I want all this to this is all me saying this is in kind of support of Maynard having a tough time. There's a lot of calls around social media in the chat that Maynard should be sacked. What are thoughts on that? You can't.
No. Look, I think it's really tough for Stu, right? He's also, this is the highest league position he's ever had, I would think. Could be wrong about that, but I don't think so. So he's never been in this kind of battle before. He's lost his right-hand man. And I do think that that's a big thing. We've lost 2 coaches and promoted 1. I think I'm all for progression within a club. I think it's really good. But 18 months ago, Zhao is like data analyst and 4th coach. He's now number 2. And there's 2 of them instead of 4 of them. And I think, I'm not saying that Stu relied on Matty Saunders, but he definitely bounced ideas off him. And you haven't got anyone there we're talking about inexperienced players. Like, it's not Stu's fault, but this is new ground for him. So I think that's a thing. I think, but you go back to I can't see how you kind of go Maynard out. We go back. We're not going to, but you go back over those chances. The guy looks like a genius. We're picking up points all over the place.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with you, but I do think there has been times where he should have been more proactive and gone to sort of win the game and kill the game in some games as well. But obviously, I feel a bit for him as well, because I feel like he's never really had that. You know, like when you talk about Luke Williams, like there's always going to be a mutual respect for Luke Williams when it comes to Notts fans, I think. So there is from my perspective anyway. He had a really good affinity, didn't he, with the fans? And I just feel like that I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's just me, but I just don't feel like Maynard ever really got that because of what he walked into. Do you know what I mean? There was cause for his heads after like a few weeks, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So it's difficult once you've had that bad run, which it was, like the end of last season when he came in. It's sort of difficult to get everyone back on side. And then when you do eventually get everyone back on side, when you have 1 or 2 bad games or bad results, it's straight away back again, isn't it? So
but I tell you what, you look at the bench though, like, okay, so Conor Grant scores a brilliant goal on Tuesday. Now that's a really terrific goal. He takes it, chops a guy, rolls it into, curls it into the corners. Terrific finish. But Conor Grant had given some pretty good performances, but in my opinion, he disappeared in games. Like it was very rare that in the second half he was still kind of there.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. But he's not going to pull him off the bench going, it's okay because I'm going to throw Conor Grant on and Conor Grant's going to win us the game. Now, actually, he nearly got us back in the game. Well, he did get us back in the game. He scores the goal, but that's not a guarantee. Like that bench on Tuesday night. For me, Cerullo should have started, but where's the game changer? I think Cerullo's got to start because he tries things. That's my opinion. He always tries to do something with the ball.
Yeah. What I would say on that as well, I'm Nick Cerullo to start, but even if he didn't want Cerullo to start, and this is then me kind of, I think where Maynard's got to learn, if he doesn't start Jarvis, if he starts Nick Cerullo, then he all of a sudden does have an option off the bench. Because Jarvis will be the option off the bench against the tiring side. We saw what he can do when he takes the player on.
Yeah, boy can dribble.
By 55, 60 minutes, he's tired.
Yeah,
he's injured. He's been kicked, and teams know what they need to do to stop him. So he needs to help himself a bit because
yeah, that's fair.
You've gone all guns blazing against Barrow, and you're 1 down in 9 minutes for them to just sit in, and all of a sudden a player like Jarvis against the team sitting in is completely ineffective. Which is says Cisse on the bench Tuesday. There's part of an issue as well. We're promotion chasing. As much as Cisse can be on for the future, he's not going to come on. So he's not going to come on. Sam Slocum's not going to come on. All of a sudden, I heard people around me say, someone shouted that they need to switch it up and put Hinchy on. What? I mean, he's a good player. I think he's a decent player, but it's not going to change your game, is he?
Well, now I can't claim credit for this thought because this was, I think, Cynical Pie on Blue Sky, but I hadn't thought of this. He said, "What about bringing Hinchy on and pushing Abbott up, Abbott further up?" Because Abbott does have the desire, and I thought about it and I did think that was it's a really good thing. It's a really good thing. That Hinchy can just sit, so he basically drops into a 6. Palmer becomes the 8. I know we play a box; it's not quite like that, but you push Georgie Abbott further forward, you advance him. I thought that was a decent thing.
I have no issue with that.
Nothing else was working, was it? I think, yeah.
I have literally no issue. Sorry, I've just had a message from Jordan saying he's not going to make it, and then I was going to be shocked, but then I realised I'm not shocked. So there we go. If you see him at the ground, or you don't need to say anything, just do this. Shake your head. He'll know. He'll know. Yeah, I would do that. I've just read something. Casey says, Cisse actually played an academy game that Davies versus Wrexham, so he was never going to play 2 games in the day. Just there to make up the numbers.
Wow.
Okay.
That's mad.
That's actually that's poor.
That's mad.
Just even throw someone else on the bench then. Because if you're never ever going to play him, what if a situation arose, where players took it in the warm-up and you had to swap it out and then you were left with just him on the bench? You're going to have to put Sam Slocum on, or you're going to put a young player to play 2 games in one day. I know that's very, very, very unlikely to happen. But yeah, that's madness. Are we really that stretched? Wow. I know we've got Ness out, we've got Robbo out, we've got Austin, Jody, and Didsey. 5 players, and 4 of those big players. Yeah, I'd even say Ness is a super, all 5 of those could start and you wouldn't be upset, would you?
Yeah.
So disappointing. Do you think we see Jody again, George, this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think we just probably need to give him a bit more time. When we think he's ready, give him another week or 2.
Ben?
I think we do, yeah. I think this league is so tight, it could honestly come down to the last 6 or 7. And if Dids and Jones are fit enough to actually influence a game, like Jones in particular, Didsy I think will be fine. But yeah, I think we'll see him, and I still think we can do it with 6 or 7. Here's one for maybe for the monthly meetup. And people, if you're not watching or subscribed to the monthly meetup, get on that thing. It's a brilliant show with some excellent contributors who have vast knowledge, and Thomas Wagstaff.
Thank you.
You chair it brilliantly, pal. But here's one. I'd be interested to know, because I think there isn't a team in this chase that is equipped for League One. So if we go up, we're going to need to restructure signing wise. And I mean, I'd be really interested in what the Walsall, Bradford, and others feel about that, whether their squad, they feel as though this squad would be okay. Because I don't think so. I think there's a bit of a gulf. If you look at the kind of mid to lower-ish table in League One and the top of League Two this year, I'd say there's more of a gap. I know Wrexham, Stockport, Mansfield were really, really strong, but you look at where they are. I know they've obviously added, but just popping that in there. Because if you went through our squad, who would be, it's a conversation for another time, but who would be League One ready? Don't know.
Ben, if things go well, we'll get you on in a month's time and we'll talk about that genuinely, because you'd never know what happens. Our away games are, we're better in away games. If we were going away to Morecambe this weekend and on Tuesday going away to, I don't know, Gillingham, I'd be thinking we could actually pick some points up, but we're not. We're going away to Wimbledon.
We're going to win.
Well, they're winless in 4, so I think one of us is going to. I don't think we're going to get a draw. I think one of us is going to go for it.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday night away at Grimsby. I'm just going to plug it in. We're going to have a watch along. Last watch along was Barrow. We're going to have a watch along for the Grimsby game.
Oh, pitching.
Yeah. But I don't know. They are.
And then it's Chesney, and then it's Crew, isn't it?
Tough that they got. Yeah. I mean, I saw someone say good luck.
Oh man, good luck, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, it's very, very tough. Our fixture list on paper to the end of the season is not favourable. No. We've still got MK to play, which I don't care how MK are playing, because of what's happened, becomes a tougher game.
Yeah.
We've got away to Bradford. I actually do think we'll go away to Bradford and win. I'll say that now. I do think that will happen. But then we could drop points away at Newport. Who knows? And any home game at the minute, we're looking to drop points. So how are you? because myself and George, when we close the show shortly, we'll give our predictions for that. But you say you think we'll win against Wimbledon.
I just got a weird feeling that we'll go to Wimbledon and win. I think they're in a strange place. I think both teams will be looking at it thinking we can do something here. But I think it would be very nuts to just go there and win. It would be very League Two.
I get the sense of, I still say it will be very not, but I don't know, I'll be wrong. I get the sense, George, that you are kind of past that sentiment. Like it will be very not for this season. I kind of just think your confidence is shot for this season. And I get the sense, I don't know, I get the sense whether you have a bit of something in your head now that's even concerned about the playoff places.
Yeah, there is, to be fair. I think that, I don't know. I just feel like the last few, obviously, I don't make it to as many away games as I'd like, so I've not seen us play as well really, because we've struggled at home. But yeah, I think we've got to be careful, because results like losing to Barrow at home can be a massive shot for confidence. So yeah, I mean, my confidence is sort of low at the minute. With you don't know what you're going to see. You don't know if they're going to come out of the blocks and play fairly well and control the game, or we're just going to panic a little bit, which we've sort of seen quite a lot of recently. And I think it is all hinged on when certain players come back and things like that. But then, because things like that lift the squad as well. So I think we're we're like pivoting at the moment. It's a bit like a seesaw. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's just sort of balanced that, and it could really go one way, it could really go the other way. I'm not sure. I really hope I'm wrong, but yeah.
Football is so mad that let's say, and I'm not suggesting we're going to. Let's say we did get 4 or 6 points from the next 2. We're back here next Thursday.
Yeah,
we'll be like, okay, automatics.
It's back on.
Let's back on. But if we don't pick up a win, all of a sudden that niggle that you just said you've got, George, about not making the playoffs, well, I don't know, mathematically, could we be out of the playoffs by this time next Thursday? You just don't know. You just don't know, do you? So it is very, very tricky. Sorry, Ben, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was, and then my son can't find his dinner, so I've just had to message and say it's in the left-hand oven. So it's jumped out of my head, as you were.
Oh, no worries. So Richard says Bradford's bubble could burst like Walsall. I don't think so. I think they're all good. I think they're okay personally. So we're gonna go for our lineup. Ben, it's been incredible to have you on. Well, it's actually a class now. It's in the realm of a bumper episode because we're going over 50 minutes. But Ben, it's been great to have you on, and we love having you on. Remember, if you do see Jordan out and about, games, anywhere, you could go to his work. If you know where he works, just shake your head at him through the window. He has missed tonight's episode.
I'll shake my head if I see him. Thanks for having me on, fellas. It's always
great. It's been great. Very, very quickly. Score prediction against Wimbledon.
2-1.
Score prediction against Grimsby.
11-all.
We're going up. We're literally going up. We're going up. 11. I wouldn't mind an 11-all the way we've been missing chances lately. I'd be cheering for their goals if I knew.
It's Grimbo. It's going to be 11s.
Cheers, Ben. Appreciate it, mate.
Cheers. See you later.
George, let's go through them because I don't like to see it, but I'm feeling confidence is waning a little bit. You're a confident guy, but when you're in tears in the car park after the game on Tuesday, I just thought, this isn't him. This isn't you.
I just want my club back.
I know, you said that to me. You were banging on the gate saying, let me back in. Right. Let's go for our team.
It was just dull, wasn't it? It was a dull watch.
It was dull. It was pretty boring. I mean, I could have been at home making pancakes, to be fair.
There is that.
I made pancakes on the Monday in full anticipation that I was going to be celebrating like this on the Tuesday. It was that bad. Like even the second Abbott's goal went in, I just said he's going to disallow it. He's going to disallow it, and I saw all the players running over. So there we go. Did anyone? Genuine question here. Did anyone? I didn't see anyone. I think this was a scam. Did anyone actually get pancakes from the kiosks at the game, or did anyone see anyone with a pancake at the game? Did you, George?
I didn't know, but
No
I
way
find
they
it mad that all of a sudden they have the facilities for that. You know what I mean? Unless they were like pre-made and just warmed up.
And Sam, who's just the Bradford fan, is known as SHD on this. I don't want you to be jealous that we had pancakes at the game on Tuesday, but no one saw a pancake being sold. I'm sorry. Darren says, yes, saw a chap in the cop. Wow. I saw nobody with a pancake. But there we go. Line up, George, for Wimbledon.
Do you agree with it?
Do I agree with it? Pancake and a pint? 100%.
You think it's a good thing to have pancakes in the concourse?
Tuesday night, Barrow at home, and
it goes against all my football fundamentals, that does.
Barrow at home, Tuesday night. Someone here has just said they saw a grown man with pancakes and ice cream. 100% class.
I can't imagine what my granddad will think of this.
I don't agree with the donuts at every game. Unreal. Comment of the season. Comment of the season there from Pythagorean. That's class. That's class. William, I had the pancakes, but they were just packet ones. Yeah, I knew it. I had literally visions of João Alves flipping pancakes in the concourse.
He may as well. He does
in the clock, in the Pavis, and in the family stand at the same time.
Yeah.
Whilst data analysing everything. Maybe the pancakes were a bad luck charm. We haven't had pancakes for the past 5 games, so I don't know. I don't think they're a bad luck charm.
Not a big fan of it, you know.
Joe flipping rubbish, not as bad as crap on the pitch, but it's a good one. Right, line up, George. Wimbledon. What's going to go in our favour massively, I think, is that Wimbledon need a win.
I think one thing that could go in our favour is they just don't turn up to the game.
Don't be like that. You're being too negative now.
I'm joking.
Too negative. That's upset me. But no, Wimbledon for the first time this season need a win. They lost 1-0 to Morecambe, 1-0 to Bromley, drew 1-1 with Colchester, drew 0-0 with Fleetwood. They've scored 1 goal in their last 3 games. They need a win, and they've not been in this position. And I think if they come out and actually, we haven't seen them all season come out and try to attack. Listen to this for a mad stat. We think our football is boring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In the last 8 games, in 7 of the last 8 games, only one of the teams has scored. So both teams to score has happened in 1 game.
Yeah, it's boring.
Like that. Like I think this could play into our favour. So Stevens wasn't in their starting lineup midweek. Ooh, don't know why that was. Right, lineup, George. Bass in goal. Same back 3 for me. Makari, Platt, Bedu.
Yeah. Left
wing back. Has it got to be Nick Cerula?
Mm-hmm.
Right wing back.
I'd keep it Gordon.
Yeah, I think his crosses were fine. There was just no one to.
Yeah, I think he's got better this season for sure. He's really grown into his role at Notts.
Yeah. Midfield 2. Are you going to follow Ben's suggestion that he said wasn't his own suggestion, but he brought it to the chat?
Yeah. No, it's a good idea, but I think we just keep it Palmer, Abbott.
I don't. I'm going to go with it. Palmer and Hinchy.
Okay.
Match fit Hinchy. Okay, so going back to Robert chat earlier, I saw him coming out on Tuesday. He said he was hopeful for at least 5 more games this season, but he was hobbling around, so it could be doubtful. I'm going to go Hinchy and Palmer. And then my 2, I'm going to go Grant and Abbott behind Jota. There's something, I know I'm in the minority here, but there's something I really like about Grant, and I think he gets a bit of bad press because it's easy, because we got rid of Aaron Deman, who some people still thinks was great. I think he was decent for Notts, and we got someone back that's maybe not as effective.
I'd go Grant, Whittaker and Chatter.
I would just give Whittaker a little bit of a rest. Although I do think playing away at Wimbledon, for some reason, there's no logic behind this at all, as there is with absolutely nothing of what I say. But I just there is a bit in my head that thinks Whittaker away at Wimbledon probably would work. I don't know. Maybe it's because they both begin with W. But as I say, nothing I ever say makes sense. So there we go. Right, let's go score predictions then, George. You give me both score predictions, and then people can get them in the chat as well.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 Notts on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then a 1-1 away at Grimsby.
4 points. You 100% take 4 points now.
Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah, you do, yeah.
I put in the Notts County chat on Tuesday, Notts would win 4 or 5-0 against Barrow. So I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0 against Wimbledon and 1-1 against Grimsby. Cool. I think so. Let's see what people are saying. 0-0 Dons, 1-1 Grimsby. 2 points. Not enough, but also not the end of the world because you stop 2 teams that are around us gaining any ground on us.
Yeah.
Mug 1, says Mickey. They'll be back one day, Mickey.
On that.
Yeah, we've got 2-0 Wimbledon. Sorry. No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Won't be posting anything you put against. No, I'm only joking. 2-1 Notts, Jasper and Whittaker, and 1-0 Tuesday's 1-0 Grant. 1-0 Jattercake, says David. I got sent like a meme of Jatter on a Jaffa cake package.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from. 1-1 and 2-0. We're going to win both games 2-0, Jatta and Traore to bag some goals. This is what I like. There's still positivity. We've got 1-0 and 3-0. We've got 0-0 and 5-5 again. 5-5, I'll take the goals. 1-0. Wins have both optimistic head. Okay. We've got 6 points, 2 clean sheets. I'll take that. We've got Grimsby 2, Notts 4, Jattercake 2, Platt and Abbott. And I'm going to go with Mickey, who nearly won the mug then, but he's gone 1-0 Notts, Wimbledon 3-3 Grimsby. Massive episode. If you've enjoyed Ben being on, what Ben's has just messaged me. He said, please do subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed Ben's hat, subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed our new microphones, subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed Jordan not turning up, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy the positivity of everyone saying 2 wins or 4 points, which is still positive, subscribe to the channel. We will have a vlog up shortly after the Wimbledon game and our watch along for the Grimsby game. We'd love as many of you there as possible. We might even get a few guests on to chat during that game as well. Safe travels to anyone going for that early kickoff at Wimbledon. If I see you there, say hello. We'll have a chat about things. And Richard says, how many subscribers now? We're well over 4,000. We're pushing towards that 4,200, Richard. That's the goal for the end of the season. As always, thank you so much. Drop those likes. What should we say, George? Should we ask for 100 likes for this episode? Yeah, just before everyone comes off live, just drop a like. We would smash 100 if you did that. We're 144 people watching now, so we'll massively appreciate that. We'll be back next Thursday. As always, hopefully 6 points. The poll question, we've given ours, but have you got the answer to hand, George? Someone's asked for it.
I'll do it quickly.
Come on, George. Come on.
Give me a second. I'm panicking. Right, so we've had 146 votes on the poll.
We can smash the likes then.
Are we good enough for top 3? 36% say yes, 64% say no. So numbers are dwindling with belief.
To finish, Phil says, what's Ben's channel called? It's Notts County Talk. And if you would like him here permanently, subscribe, leave a like, let us know. Genuinely, let us know if you like him on here more often. I'm sure we could arrange that. Thank you all for watching. See you next Thursday.